Hello, everybody, and welcome to a new English series. And today's lesson is about the elements of fiction. So, the elements of fiction we have here the plot, the setting, the characters, point of view, and the theme. When I ask you what is the plot, so the plot is the series of events in a story, which starts with exposition, rising action, climax, falling action, and the resolution. Okay. We have narrative stages for the plot. As you see here, the exposition, which is the start of the story, the situation before the actions starts, the rising actions, the series of conflicts and the crises, and the story that lead to the climax. A climax, which is the turning point, the most intense moment, either mentally or in action. The reader wonders what will happen next. Will the conflict be resolved or not? Then we go to the following action where the events and complications begin to resolve themselves. Then we have here the resolution, which is the conclusion, the untangling of events in a story. Okay, wonderful. Then we go to the types of plots. We have plots in a story can be represented in a variety of orders. The chronological order, which are using words like first, second, third, so in chronological order and time. And we have some stories begin at the end, then lead up to why and how things developed as they did. And the third time, some stories begin in the middle of things. Okay, when we are talking about where we are and then we go to the past, we call this flashback. So it's a technique in which the author interrupts the plot of the story to tell an incident of an earlier time. It goes back in time, like giving the reader a memory. Foreshadowing. This is a writer's technique in which the author provides clues or hints as to what is going to happen later in the story. It means that what will happen in the future, this is we call it foreshadowing. The conflict is the struggle between two forces in a story. Could be two forces or more actually. The plot revolves around this conflict. We have types of conflict. We have physical one, and we have social one and internal one. So the physical is between a character and nature or physical world. And the social one between characters or between the character and his or her society. Then we have the internal one, which is psychological conflict between the different attitudes or beliefs in the character's mind. So the character and himself, we call it internal conflict. The setting is where and when the story took place, which means that we're talking about place and time. Then we have the characters, could be people or animals in a story. We have types of characters. As you see here, we have major one and minor one, round and flat characters, dynamic and static, protagonist and antagonist. The round and the flat characters. The round characters are complex, convincing, and true to life characters. They are described in more details, having many different and sometimes even contradictory personality traits. Okay, contradictory traits, good and bad, evil and honest. Okay, these are contradicting. Then we have flat characters are stereotyped, shallow, and often symbolic. They have only one or two personality traits. Okay, then we go to dynamic characters. Undergoes some type of or change or development in the story, often because of something that happens to them. We call it dynamic. Static do not change in the course of the story. From the beginning till the end, there is no change. We call it a static character. Then we go for the protagonist. It's the main character in a literary work, and what is opposite the protagonist or competing the protagonist, all the time we call it antagonist, is the character who opposes the protagonist. I wish you really enjoyed the lesson. I hope you listen to it more than one time, study it hard, till we meet again in another English episode. Best wishes. Goodbye.